I once asked a group of young girls if there were any stereotypes that they have a problem with. One little girl, 11 or 12, was a blonde. Any blondes here? There's a couple of blondes. She said, "People say I'm dumb because I'm blonde." Oh my God, that's happening to her already. "People say I'm not worth anything and I'm not pretty because I'm fat." This kid was probably as thin as my pinky. What stereotypes do you know of that hold people back? As we get older, is it more difficult to get older and admit our age? Why would that be? Who said that? Yeah, the stereotypes that follow us as we get older. For after all, as we're older, we are what? Certainly, pardon?
We're wiser.
Yes, we are, but that's a great stereotype, and it might not necessarily be the case. I feel it is. We certainly have more knowledge. But the negative stereotype of getting older, that our...
That you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah,
We're unteachable.
uh-huh.
We're slower. We're set in our ways.
Mm-hmm.
That you're not a sexual being anymore.
Ah, yeah. Except the men are,
Yeah.
right? You know. Give me any, 72-year-old gorgeous hunk of a guy, and then have a 72-year-old woman. We don't have a chance. Unless we buck the stereotypes. And that's the defiant part of Tao and Defiant. That just like the yin and the yang, they work hand in hand. Okay, so now we know yin and yang, Zhuan, Wu Wei. We know Defiant. How does it work in our lives? Because we all go through transitions, do we not? We've all had challenges. Anybody facing a challenge nowadays? Yeah. Is there anyone who would like to mention their challenge?
Facing empty nest syndrome or empty nesting.
Until they come back again. Okay.
I
What?
have one out and one that will be going out in a year, so it's a transition time.
Yes, it is. How are you facing it?
Letting them be independent
Okay.
and going with the flow and trying not to be too on top of them, but still letting them know boundaries and that we're always there.
What does it do to you personally? I mean, you're supporting them. Pardon?
You're drinking a lot more now.
Yeah. Get this woman a glass of wine and then a martini at least.
Trying to keep busy.
Okay. Life is different, isn't it?
It is different.
You're mom in a different way, aren't you?
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially the one that's already up and out to college. Going into his third year.
I've spoken with a lot of women who have faced the empty nest with a lot of pain. All of a sudden, we're not mommy anymore. And mommy has defined us for so many, many years. It's who we were. I remember once somebody asking me, CJ, who are you? And I said, oh, well, I'm David and Donna's mommy. And I'm this one's wife, and I'm that one's daughter. And he said to me, no, but who are you? Obviously, I wasn't down Defiant yet. I had no answer for it. So what does Down Defiant say to the woman who is facing empty nest syndrome?
Can't undo what's happening or what's already happened, so you better go with the flow and find some new ways of being in your new situation.
And how do you do that? What do you hang on to? Which principle of the 4 that I mentioned.
A day.
Bingo.
And if you're not sure who that is, you better do some work figuring it out, which is what I'm doing right now.
Aha.
Figuring out who I am,
Who you are, yeah.
what I think, and you know, how I feel, what I prefer,
Mm-hmm.
what my choice would be
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't consult everybody else first.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
What a concept.
imagine that.
Whoa. Are you defiant?
A
Whoa.
lot of work.
Watch that woman. You had your hand up.
Basically finding balance, I think, is the key. I just had a child move up with a grandchild, and I don't want to let go of me, the person I found, and not be there for her. Because I'm still her mother, and I'm still a grandmother, but I'm still me. So it's balance.
But Mom.
Yeah, does she come back expecting you to be like, you
No,
know?
not
Oh,
yet,
okay.
but I'm
Not
ready.
yet.
I'm ready.
Gearing up.
That's why you're here. She's gearing. This is, like getting the sword ready. But Mom, what you're doing isn't nearly as important as helping me take care of the baby.
No, I don't get that.
You will. Maybe. What do you answer to that? Has anybody gotten that?
I would say I've already done that. This is your baby. I'll be the grandmother, not gonna be the mother again. That's how I feel. That's how I've told my
Remember the
sons.
independence
If you
they
get somebody
wanted?
pregnant and have a baby,
Keep it
guess
going.
what?
Guess what?
It's not my baby.
That's
It's my
exactly.
grandchild.
At which point, then you start teaching Tao and Defiance to your child.
You clearly state your boundaries. This is what I will
That's
do,
it.
and this is what I won't do.
I wouldn't dream of taking away the joy of the experience you're about to have.
Oh, yes!
Practicing in there. I've got years, but I've memorized it.
See, but that's perfect. That is Tao and Defiance. That is taking a situation that has you so tied up, that has you so locked in, and finding a way to work your way out of it. Maybe. Any other challenges? Any? Yes.
Well, it's amazing how similar becoming an empty nester is to the thought of retirement. Your whole life has been invested in your career successes, and now giving that all up and having to become somebody totally different again.
Are you becoming somebody totally different, or are you just discovering a new part of yourself?
Hopefully it's the latter.
It's like becoming newly single after a very long-term relationship.
You're not a different person. You are Day. You are who you are. But you're finding within new parts of you, new strengths, new desires.
It's liberating.
Yeah.
Or old ones that you thought you lost.
Ah. Exactly. I have a friend who had asked me recently, well, when I retire and when I move, I'm going to start swimming, I'm going to start playing tennis, I'm going to start dance lessons, I'm going to start playing. Why wait? Tao and Defiance says, why wait? If somebody comes up to me and says, I always wanted to write, but I don't have the time. Really?
How bad you want it.
You don't have the time
Really?
not to do what you want.
Exactly. Exactly. So what I talk about, or what I share when I talk about Tao and Defiance, is no magic. It's not a magic formula. It's not something that you haven't heard before, is it? But it is, for me, and hopefully for you all and for many women, something a little bit tangible. If I find myself in a quandary, if I find myself in a hard spot, if I find myself bound with some problem, it's going to sound silly. I say, Okay, what would a down defiant woman do? But truly, it becomes, okay, what can I pull out of Wu Wei and Zhu Ran, and mostly Day, that's going to help me here? I remember walking, I was outside of Philly, ready to give a speech the next day or that evening or something, and I was walking a rails to trails walk. So pebbly, but flat. And it was a gorgeous day. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. And I saw walking towards me, enjoying the same walk, albeit in reverse, a woman who was pushing her walker. How I wanted to run up to her, hug her, and say, "Ah, thank you for being down defiant." And I figured I'd get arrested. So I didn't do it. But that's down defiant. She needed a walker to walk. What would many people do? Not all. Many would say, "I can't walk because I have to use my walker." What did this woman do? She took her walker and she went. The people who, there is a gal that I worked with recently whose husband had lost his job. He didn't lose her job. I don't know, maybe he did. He lost his job, and they were going to have to move. How do you deal with something like that? Give me some down defiant ways in dealing with that.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow, sure.
Look at it.
However,
Embrace it.
A new adventure.
a new adventure.
A smaller place to have to deal with, so maybe more time to do other things. I'm assuming downsizing,
One would think.
so more time to do other things
Yeah.
that you want to do.
Everything in life is temporary, it's just for now.
Is it easy to do? I am absolutely never going to say, just invoke down defiance and it's a piece of cake. Tough is stuff. Tough is stuff. Let's try that again. Stuff is tough. Life isn't easy. It's difficult to talk sometimes. I will never negate any of the challenges that people are going through. But I'm convinced that if you don't at least acknowledge the challenge, I'm so glad I have my notes. If you don't at least acknowledge the challenge, if you don't at least find a way around, through, under the challenge, there's no hope at all.